Our first speaker is Tanner Davis. Tanner is a senior in the School of Foreign Service, majoring in science, technology, and international affairs with a certificate in international business diplomacy. Even though Tanner didn't attend his own Gap weekend, he somehow managed to assume a position on the board, most recently serving as the director of regional and state chairs. Next year, he will greatly miss Chicken Finger Thursdays and Leo's, but not as much as the friends he's made in the Blue and Gray Tour Guide Society, on the club soccer team, and in his fraternity. In his free time, Tanner loves running to the monuments for the Insta and binging on Grey's Anatomy instead of being pre-med. Originally from Dallas, Texas, Tanner is excited to move to San Francisco next year to work at Google.
Congratulations. You were accepted into one of the best universities in the world. Georgetown, the place that I've been lucky enough to call home for the last 4 years, is renowned for its combination of top-notch academics and professors, location in Washington, D.C., student body diversity and campus engagement, active social scene both on and off campus, history and tradition, and beautiful architecture, aside from our library. These are things you already know and are reasons you applied. However, while all these define the university, what truly characterizes Georgetown is its uncanny ability to cultivate some, if not significant, emotional growth in every single student, a process which began for me within the first few weeks of freshman year. On the second day of classes, I walked into the Intro to World History class I had registered for, excited because I had heard the professor was one of the best in the entire department. However, I could feel my breath shorten and my chest tighten as she ran through the syllabus explaining the amount of work she was expecting from us. As a new student with 5 classes expecting to take on 4 to 5 extracurriculars and to thrive socially, I did not understand how I would be able to manage the workload of this class. I literally had a panic attack, and I sprinted out of the class after it was over, back to Darnell Hall, my freshman dorm, and fell asleep, my typical reaction to anything troubling me in life. I woke up around 9 p.m. and called my mom to tell her about my week, how I had made the club soccer team, how I was rushing a social fraternity, how I joined Gap, but I didn't want to worry her. So obviously she got around to asking how classes were going, so I was honest. I explained how I was in a difficult class, but that this was the type of situation that Georgetown students were supposed to excel in. I could do this. Being a mom, she easily detected the BS in my voice, and without skipping a beat, she said, "Drop the class." She then said, "I love you," and hung up abruptly. And my heart sunk, not because my mom hung up on me, but because I never thought of this as an option. And doing so to me seemed like I was giving up so easily, like I was admitting to failure. So I stormed into my dean's office the next day, and she said that dropping the class was a perfectly reasonable option with the amount of AP credit I had, but she could tell I was hesitant and nervous and, frankly, sweaty. Nevertheless, I heeded her advice and dropped the class. And in the 2 minutes it took me to walk back to my dorm, I received an email from a different dean who told me that my dean had told him that I was interested in taking his 1-credit meditation course because I had seemed, quote unquote, unduly stressed in my meeting with her. And after scoffing at this invitation and feeling slightly offended, I signed up. And I meditated my freshman fall for 2 hours every Thursday with 9 other students. And to this day, I can say that it was one of the most valuable classes I've taken here because I met a unique group of strangers that all supported one another and taught me that there are more important things in life than worrying about a perfect academic record. And it was all because of my dean. She helped me check my pride and open my eyes to trying new things. A few weeks after I settled into my classes, the skills I had been acquiring in my meditation class came in handy when I was alerted to the fact that I had appeared on national television. Let me explain. In the summer before coming here, I auditioned for a televised singing show in front of 4 judges. I'm currently attending Georgetown, so obviously something went wrong. In June 2013, after an array of bizarre interviews with my mom, I walked out on a stage in a New Orleans stadium, and who do I see? Paulina Rubio, Kelly Rowland, Demi Lovato, and yes, Simon Cowell. And after some small talk, I belted a glowing rendition of Celine Dion's "My Heart Will Go On," the theme song from Titanic. And although I pretty much blacked out this entire performance from nerves, all I really remember was that at the end, Demi called me cute. And Simon said that I did a better job than the iceberg at killing that song. So yes, I did in fact receive 4 no's. Fast forward to mid-September, not only was I aired on the first episode of the season to an audience of 6.5 million people, I was also memorialized on a YouTube video titled Best of the Worst X Factor Season 3. Please feel free to look this up later. Obviously, I wanted to keep this a secret from people at Georgetown because I didn't want this to get out and blemish the fresh reputation that I got when beginning college. And my friends kept asking me how I had amassed so many Twitter followers, to which I attributed my witty humor. And I was able to make it a whole semester without a campus-wide expose. After Christmas break, I went to my fraternity's first chapter meeting of the semester, and at the very end, they said they had a special video for everyone to play before we all left, and my heart literally sunk. There I was on the screen, and my worst nightmare was coming true, being embarrassed in front of 80 people that I know. So I just put my head in my hands, listening to their reactions, and after it was over, the room went silent. And I was shocked when one of my brothers turned around and said that that was one of the coolest things he had ever seen, and that he admired my bravery and my putting myself out there trying something new. And oddly enough, this sentiment was generally echoed throughout the room, and I was just very confused. But I smiled and said thank you and just went along with it. Before we had even left the room, I had received an email from the club soccer listserv with the link to the video. And again, reactions were relatively similar. And eventually, students I had never even met before would approach me with questions. And after thinking about these responses, I realized that Georgetown students, whether in a fraternity, on a sports team, in your classes, really encourage you to own your story and embrace both your successes and failures, no matter how public they may be. Owning my X Factor experience was the first time I came out in college. The second time I actually came out was much harder, but was met with similar unwavering support. Living in Dallas for my entire life, I observed that people who identify as LGBTQ didn't always have an easy time adjusting due to the stigma placed upon them. So this long-standing fear kept me closeted when I came to Georgetown, and I attempted to act as straight as possible, anxious that my classmates would find me out. Even at the first Jesuit university with an LGBTQ resource center and in a city with a vibrant gay community, I was still petrified. I was afraid of people's perceptions of me and how they would change. I was afraid of what my own family would think of me. So after years of endless frustration and confusion, grueling self-hatred, and 8 meetings with counseling and psychiatric services on campus, I decided that I was tired of fighting myself. And I came out in my junior year to my family, friends, classmates, brothers, and teammates, and to my surprise, I was lucky to have been accepted and embraced by everyone I told. And after reflecting on my previous long-standing fear, I realized that coming out at Georgetown, rather owning who you are in any capacity, is actually really easy because the welcoming culture on campus would really prevent any type of backlash. And since coming out, I've been able to add a different perspective in my classes and conversations. I was encouraged to apply to an LGBTQ tech conference in San Francisco that helped me land the job that I have waiting for me next year. And I have felt exponentially happier and safer being myself. Now, obviously it was a risk, but I have Georgetown to thank for helping me be myself unapologetically. Fear of standing out or being different had paralyzed me, but my friends and The culture here allowed me to feel comfortable owning who I was, who I am. Embracing my identity allowed me to feel more confident in myself, and I began taking even more risks. For example, my favorite Georgetown professor, Mark Giordano, was one of the reasons I studied abroad in India for 4 months. He helped me push myself outside of my comfort zone, but I was able to eventually settle into a completely different culture, hike in the Himalayas, be featured on 3 BuzzFeed videos, and live with an amazing host family with whom I still keep in contact. And to this day, my digestive system still has yet to recover from the spicy food. Georgetown is unique in that it will cultivate your adventurous spirit and foster an environment where you're not afraid to feel uncomfortable, characteristics that have guided me through this crazy and wild 4-year journey. However, this journey was never one I planned, and being open-minded here has helped me transition from acting like an adult to actually being an adult, a transition that hasn't necessarily been the rosiest. In my 4 years here, I've smiled so hard I didn't think I could ever be sad again. I've cried harder than I've ever cried before. I've laughed so hard my stomach hurt for an entire day. I felt so lonely that I wanted to take the next flight home to be with my family, and felt more loved and supported by my friends in a single moment that I never wanted it to end. And it took me a while to realize, but college isn't just about pulling all-nighters or going out every weekend or feeling as though you have to have fun and be happy 100% of the time. It's about growing up, maturing, figuring out who you are as a person. It's about saying yes, taking risks, making mistakes, and feeling as many emotions as you can, and understanding your experiences and your reactions to them before you graduate. Nevertheless, no matter where you end up, hopefully it is Georgetown, please keep this true purpose of college in mind, because it's more important, in my opinion, than any grade you will ever get, and will provide you with exponentially more benefit down the line than any degree. And I hope my story serves as a testament to the fact that Georgetown students, professors, and deans will push you towards these goals both directly and indirectly. So thank you very much, Hoya Saxa, and best of luck in the next stage of your life.